How many times have you found yourself anxious about what might happen tomorrow? Worried about career, money, or relationship issues that always seem out of your control? The weight of the future, most of the time, becomes such a burden that each step towards your goals begins to seem more difficult. Each decision seems to carry the anxiety of uncertainty. The truth is that many people spend a good part of their lives stuck in constant worry about what's next, and this can be paralyzing. This fear of an uncertain future is common, but it doesn't have to be this way. In this video, we'll explore how Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, can help you gain clarity, leave the weight of uncertainty behind, and ultimately live in the present with greater ease. Imagine adopting a new perspective where you learn to focus only on what is within your control, freeing yourself from that constant anxiety that only drains your energy. Does it seem impossible? That's exactly what we're going to discover together. Stay until the end, and you will see that it is possible to live more lightly, without fear of the future controlling your life. This restlessness is an especially common problem among young adults, recent graduates, and emerging professionals. They are precisely in a moment of construction, of searching for stability and achievements. The fear of not achieving the desired success, of not being financially secure, of not finding personal satisfaction, feeds an anxiety that, little by little, can harm well-being. But there is a way to transform this experience. Stoicism, a practical and powerful philosophy, offers a new perspective for dealing with fear of the future and feelings of lack of control. Today, we'll explore how Stoicism can help you free yourself from this weight, teaching you to focus on the now, live more lightly, and face challenges with a more resilient and calm mindset. The first step to understanding how Stoicism can help you deal with fear of the future is to understand what this philosophy proposes in relation to controlling emotions. Developed by thinkers such as Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism preaches that the key to a peaceful life lies in how we react to what happens to us. In other words, we don't have the power to control what happens around us, but we can always choose how we react to it. This simple, yet profound, distinction helps to give more focus and clarity to our lives, as it teaches us to concentrate energy on what really matters. After all, when we look at our fears and anxieties, most of them are directly linked to situations over which we have no control, other people's behavior, the state of the economy, or even natural and unpredictable events. Stoicism suggests that, instead of trying to control what is beyond our reach, we focus only on what really depends on us, our thoughts, attitudes, and actions. This shift in perspective is liberating because by accepting that the future is largely unpredictable and out of our control, we significantly reduce the weight of our anxieties. This does not mean that you should not worry about your future, but rather that you should learn to differentiate between what is possible to influence and what is not. When it comes to anxiety, this is one of the most powerful lessons of Stoicism. You can only change yourself, and in doing so you create a lighter, more fulfilling life experience. Within Stoicism, there is a central concept called the dichotomy of control, and it is one of the most effective pillars for reducing anxiety about the future. This principle teaches us to divide everything that happens in our lives into two distinct categories: what we can control and what is completely beyond our reach. Let's apply this in a practical example. Imagine that you are very concerned about the success of your career. Maybe you really want to be promoted or recognized, but no matter how hard you work and dedicate yourself, the end result is not entirely in your hands. Stoicism, then, suggests that you focus your energies only on the things you can truly control. In this case, your commitment, your skills, and continuous learning. When you understand and practice this idea, something magical happens: the feeling of freedom. After all, by focusing on what is possible, you begin to spend less energy worrying about results that are beyond your control, becoming more productive and less anxious. To incorporate the dichotomy of control into your life, do the following exercise. Think of a situation that causes you anxiety and divide it into two parts: what is within your control and what is outside of it. This practice, repeated daily, helps develop the ability to redirect your energy towards what really matters. And by doing this, each time fear of the future arises, you will have a concrete strategy to face it. Another powerful resource of Stoicism for dealing with fear of the future is the practice of negative visualization. This concept may sound counterintuitive at first, as it involves imagining difficult or even disastrous scenarios. But the goal here is not to torture yourself with negative thoughts. On the contrary, negative visualization has the power to reduce the emotional impact of adverse situations, in addition to preparing the mind to deal with them. Imagine that you are afraid of losing your job, and this generates constant anxiety. The practice of negative visualization invites you to imagine how you would handle this situation if it actually happened. What actions would you take? How would you adapt to this change? What would be your alternatives? The idea is that, by visualizing a difficult situation and reflecting on the alternatives, you will realize that you are capable of facing it if it occurs. By mentally preparing yourself for the worst, you lessen the emotional weight of uncertainty and gain resilience. This doesn't mean you expect the worst, but rather that you feel ready to deal with it. Negative visualization creates internal confidence, because by thinking about challenging situations, you develop a skill that goes beyond external circumstances. This practice allows you to face life with more stability and security, without being dominated by fear of the unknown. One of the most important concepts of Stoicism that helps a lot in managing fear and anxiety is the so-called radical acceptance. This principle suggests that we should accept reality exactly as it is, without trying to fight against what is beyond our control. Radical acceptance does not mean conformity or giving up. It's about understanding that there are events and situations that cannot be changed, no matter how much we want to. When we try to control the uncontrollable, we create internal tension that increases our anxiety and prevents us from living in the present moment. Stoicism teaches us that the only real moment is now, and that the future is just a projection, something that will never be completely guaranteed. Radical acceptance allows us to live more lightly, without burdening ourselves with the need to control everything around us. It allows us to focus on the present, live with greater serenity, and make the most of each experience. When we accept that the future is uncertain and that life has its own dynamics, we begin to live with less resistance. This is one of the most valuable teachings of Stoicism. Living with acceptance helps us reduce stress, as anxiety often arises from trying to control what does not depend on us. To help you implement these Stoic concepts into your daily life, there are some practical exercises that can be incorporated into your routine. One of them is the Stoic diary. Every night, write about your main concerns and reflect on what is and is not within your control. By doing this, you train your mind to distinguish what deserves attention from what isn't. Another exercise is the daily review. At the end of the day, reflect on how you reacted to events and what you could have done differently. Small adjustments to the way we react to situations can make a big difference, and the daily practice of self-assessment is an effective way to develop more Stoic thinking. These exercises, although simple, have a powerful impact on how you face life's challenges and uncertainties. They help create a more resilient and present-oriented mindset where excessive concern about the future loses its power. And over time, these small habits accumulate, promoting a transformation in your worldview. As you apply the principles of Stoicism to everyday life, you may notice that your anxiety about the future begins to subside. The fear of uncertainty no longer has the same power over you, because you now understand that, by focusing on the present and your actions in the now, you are creating a solid foundation for the future. Stoicism teaches us to act in the present with the confidence that the future will be a natural consequence of our attitudes today. Instead of holding on to the fear of what is to come, you begin to act with more clarity, less burdened by external pressures and unrealistic expectations. The beauty of this philosophy lies in the simplicity and depth of its lessons. Stoicism is not a magic solution to all problems, but a powerful tool to help us change the way we respond to life's difficulties. Instead of seeing the future as a threat, Stoicism teaches us to look at it as an opportunity to live more intentionally and less consumed by anxiety. This takes practice, yes, but as you dedicate yourself to applying these teachings, you will notice a profound change in the way you live. However, this does not mean ignoring planning for the future or the importance of preparing for it. Stoicism encourages us to plan and act strategically, but it also teaches us not to cling rigidly to that plan, as life is full of unexpected events. This mental flexibility, which allows us to quickly adapt to circumstances, is one of the greatest strengths that Stoicism offers. The focus is not on rigid control, but on living wisely in the face of uncertainty. Stoic philosophy also teaches us the value of detachment, a key concept for reducing anxiety related to the future. When you let go of the idea that things have to be a certain way or that you need to control every aspect of your life, you begin to experience true freedom. Anxiety often arises when we become too attached to expectations of a specific outcome. Detachment, on the contrary, allows us to be open to different possibilities, accept the results with serenity, and learn from each experience. This practice of detachment is crucial, especially when it comes to the future, which is, by nature, uncertain and unpredictable. By learning to live without the weight of unrealistic expectations, you can take safer and calmer steps towards your goals. If something doesn't go as planned, you will understand that this is part of the process, and you will be able to adjust your strategies more quickly and efficiently. Flexibility and detachment help to build a stronger and more serene mind, which does not allow itself to be consumed by the pressure of what may or may not happen. Furthermore, an important aspect of Stoicism is the exercise of death. This practice teaches us to reflect on death constantly, not as an obsession, but as a tool to remind us of the finiteness of life. This concept may seem morbid at first glance, but the objective is to help us live more intensely in the present, without procrastinating or postponing our desires and dreams. When you reflect on death, you come to understand how valuable time is and how it should be used more wisely. By accepting that the future is uncertain and that time is finite, you become more focused, more present, and more willing to enjoy every moment. Finally, to incorporate the teachings of Stoicism into your life, it is important to be patient. Transformation won't happen overnight, and you will likely face times when anxiety about the future surfaces again. But the important thing is that, by understanding Stoic concepts, you will have the necessary tools to deal with these emotions in a more balanced way. Every small step you take towards a mindset that is more focused on the present and more detached from the uncertainties of the future is a victory. And over time, you will realize that the fear of the future loses its power, leaving space for a calmer, more conscious life and more at peace with yourself. So if you feel lost or stuck in anxiety about what's to come, know that Stoicism offers the keys to living with more clarity and balance. By applying these principles in your daily life, you will be able to transform the way you look at the future and, at the same time, enjoy the present moment more fully. Remember, the future is a reflection of what you do in the present. So, the real transformation begins now. Fear of the future can be overcome when you understand what you can really control and what actually deserves your energy and attention. If you are interested in the ideas we cover here and want to continue this journey of self-knowledge and overcoming, remember that Stoic philosophy can be your ally. With patience, dedication, and practice, you can reach a new level of tranquility and confidence on your path. Stop being a slave to uncertainty and live more freely in the present, building a future based on your own choices, actions, and wisdom. As you deepen your practice of Stoicism, you will notice that anxiety and fear of the future begin to lose their power. The secret lies in accepting what is inevitable and in the ability to shape our reactions to what is within our control. Over time, you will become more resilient in the face of adversity, more calm in the face of life's challenges, and more capable of making decisions clearly, without the weight of fear of what has not yet happened. It is important to emphasize that, contrary to what many people think, Stoicism does not propose a life without emotions or aspirations. It's not about living in emotional rigidity or conforming to mediocrity. What he proposes is learning to react in a balanced way, without letting yourself be dominated by the emotional storms generated by fear of the future or anxiety about what we cannot control. He invites us to be protagonists of our own stories, but without losing sight of the reality of what is within our reach. As you begin to adopt this mindset, you begin to live more intensely in the present moment. With every step you take, with every action you take, you connect more with your own essence and less with external pressures. Fear of the future does not disappear overnight, but by practicing Stoic teachings, it loses the power to paralyze your life. The focus becomes on action, on constant improvement, and on learning from each experience, whether positive or negative. An important aspect of Stoicism is that it teaches us to work with our mind. What you think and how you think directly affects how you feel. If you allow yourself to get stuck in anxious thoughts, imagining catastrophic scenarios of the future, your mind becomes a breeding ground for anxiety. But if you practice mental self-discipline, focusing on what you can control and accepting what you can't, your mind becomes stronger and more balanced. This is essential to live with serenity, regardless of external circumstances. On your journey, you will also begin to realize that fear of the future is often related to a lack of self-confidence. Believing that you will not be able to deal with the challenges that arise is a limiting thought. Stoicism teaches us that we are more capable than we realize, and that our true strength lies in our ability to react wisely, with serenity and resilience, regardless of external circumstances. By applying Stoic teachings to your life, you will strengthen your self-confidence, becoming more prepared to deal with adversity with courage and wisdom. Finally, remember that Stoicism is not a quick fix, but a philosophy that requires constant practice and dedication. Over time, Stoic teachings become part of who you are, shaping your decisions, your reactions, and consequently, your life. The key to overcoming fear of the future and living fully in the present is to understand that true control lies in how you react to what happens around you. The future, with its uncertainties, does not need to be a constant source of anxiety, but rather an opportunity to grow, learn, and live with purpose. However difficulties may arise, Stoicism reminds us that each obstacle is a chance to strengthen our mind and soul. The way we face challenges determines our inner peace. By learning to focus on the present, embrace control over our own attitudes, and accept the impermanence of life, we can reduce fear of the future, live more lightly, and find serenity in the midst of uncertainty. So, if you are ready to take the first step towards a more balanced and peaceful life, start adopting Stoic philosophy on your journey today. Don't expect the future to be completely predictable or free from difficulties. Instead, focus on how you can act wisely and calmly today, and allow the future to unfold as it unfolds, without fear, without anxiety, but with confidence and determination. The present is where it all begins, and it is there that you can build a more conscious and peaceful future. Along this journey, you will realize that Stoicism not only helps you deal with fear of the future, but also transforms the way you view life in general. With daily practice, you become more aware of your actions, more present in the moment, and more prepared to face challenges that arise. The transformation is gradual but very powerful, and in the end, you will see that true power lies in living with wisdom, acceptance, and confidence. As you incorporate Stoic principles into your life, you will realize that change does not happen magically or instantly, but rather through a daily commitment to the philosophy of the present. Practicing Stoicism, like any other significant mindset shift, requires persistence, patience, and self-awareness. However, as time passes, you begin to notice the results. Fear of the future lessens, anxiety about what's to come becomes less paralyzing, and confidence in your own ability to deal with life's challenges grows steadily. By living by the principles of Stoicism, you learn to distinguish what is important from what is trivial. You start to focus on what really matters, such as your actions in the present, your choices, and your ability to act with virtue. The uncertainty of the future stops being an imminent threat and starts to be seen as a natural part of life, something you can accept with ease. What once seemed like a field of insecurity and fear now becomes an area of opportunities for growth and learning. Remember that Stoicism is not about avoiding human emotions. It's actually about understanding and channeling those emotions in a constructive way. You will not become a person without feelings or immune to difficulties, but you will learn to deal with situations in a more balanced and rational way. Anxiety about the future will lose the power to dominate your decisions, your actions, and your inner peace. One of the most powerful tools of Stoicism is the practice of questioning our automatic thoughts. When you feel the fear of the future looming, stop and ask yourself, is this really in my control? Often, the fear we feel about the future comes from an internal narrative we create in our minds, a story that begins to gain traction as we feed our own fears. The Stoic knows that the best antidote to these thoughts is reason. By questioning what is real and what is not, you begin to take back control over your emotions and, consequently, over your life. This process of self-questioning also helps reduce stress related to overload of expectations. Often, fear of the future is fueled by the pressure of needing to be something or achieve something within a defined time frame. Stoicism, however, teaches us that the focus must be on doing the best we can within the current circumstances and accepting that, often, time and results are beyond our control. When you adopt this mindset, external pressures begin to lose their impact on your mental and emotional peace. Additionally, by applying Stoic philosophy, you learn to be more compassionate towards yourself. Fear of the future is often fueled by a sense of inadequacy or comparison with others. Stoicism teaches us to accept our limitations with humility and to focus on personal progress, without constantly comparing ourselves to others or measuring ourselves by what society considers success. This self-compassionate perspective helps reduce anxiety as you begin to realize that you are doing the best you can, and that is enough. As you progress on this journey, you'll also become better equipped to handle setbacks and life's challenges with a more resilient mindset. The future may be uncertain, but the difficulties you face today are opportunities to grow. Stoicism teaches that every challenge is a chance to strengthen your virtues: courage, patience, wisdom, justice, and self-control. Instead of viewing obstacles as something to fear or avoid, you begin to see them as tools for learning and growth. This shift in perspective helps reduce anxiety, as you stop perceiving the future as something threatening and start seeing it as a field of possibilities for growth and overcoming. Another aspect of Stoicism that's particularly helpful in overcoming fear of the future is the practice of daily meditation. In Stoicism, meditation isn't just a relaxation technique but a fundamental practice for cultivating mindfulness and self-awareness. By dedicating time each day to focus on the present, reflect on your emotions and thoughts, you strengthen your ability to concentrate on what truly matters. Meditation slows down the flow of anxious thoughts about the future, allowing you to achieve a state of greater tranquility and mental clarity. Finally, it's important to understand that overcoming fear of the future is an ongoing process. Stoicism isn't a quick fix but a daily practice that transforms how you relate to time, the future, and life as a whole. With each step towards self-knowledge, self-discipline, and wisdom, you move closer to living a fulfilling life free from the constant weight of anxiety about what's to come. Stoicism provides the tools you need to live with greater serenity, confidence, and purpose, no matter what the future holds. By adopting this philosophy and incorporating it into your daily life, you'll find that anxiety about the future diminishes significantly. Your focus shifts to the present, to what's within your control, and to building a life where decisions are guided by solid values rather than fear or uncertainty. Fear of the future won't disappear entirely, but its influence over your life will be minimized, allowing you to live with more freedom, balance, and peace. So, if you're ready to take the step and start transforming your relationship with the future, Stoicism is the key. With it, you can learn to live in the present, let go of fear about the future, and embrace each moment with the wisdom that comes from acceptance and control over your own actions. The future will be what you make of it, and by applying Stoic teachings, you'll have the tools to live a fuller, more peaceful life focused on what truly matters. The distinction between what's within our control and what isn't is one of the keys to overcoming fear of the future. Once you understand that there's very little you can control outside yourself, you begin to free yourself from the pressure of trying to predict and manage every aspect of your life. The truth is, much of our anxiety about the future stems from the desire to control the uncontrollable. When you let go of that need, you find a path to serenity. Daily Stoic practice requires discipline to focus on what's within your hands, your attitudes, your choices, and most importantly, your reactions to life's events. When you act based on what you can control instead of getting lost in thoughts about what's beyond your reach, anxiety starts to diminish. This becomes a constant process of self-discovery and growth. You realize that true control lies in your ability to change your perspective, reframe your thoughts, and respond to life's challenges in a balanced way. To deal with fear of the future, it's also essential to understand that the future is merely a mental projection. Often, we imagine catastrophic scenarios or unrealistic expectations, creating unnecessary emotional tension. The reality is that, no matter how unpredictable, the future is rarely as bleak as the distorted versions our minds create. Through Stoicism, you learn to focus on the present, a space where fear is reduced by the clarity of action in the here and now. For example, if you feel anxious about your career or finances, Stoicism teaches you to do what's within your power today. Instead of being consumed by fear of not achieving a certain level of success or status in the future, you focus on the practical steps you can take now to reach your goals. This doesn't mean ignoring the future, but acting with a mindset that's more focused and disciplined in the present. The future thus shifts from being a field of insecurity to becoming an extension of the choices you make every day. Another valuable Stoic concept is accepting suffering as part of the human experience. This acceptance isn't passivity but an active resistance to negativity. Fear of the future is often tied to expectations that everything will be perfect or free from difficulty. Stoicism teaches us that, rather than fearing pain or adversity, we should accept them as opportunities to exercise inner strength and expand our capacity to face life's challenges. It's not about seeking suffering but recognizing that when it arises, we have the power to face it with resilience and calm. By internalizing these lessons, you'll find that fear of the future gradually diminishes. Instead of feeling paralyzed by what's to come, you adopt a calmer and more secure attitude, focusing on actions you can take today to improve your life. This mindset shift is one of Stoicism's greatest benefits, giving you the confidence to face any situation without being controlled by fear or anxiety. Finally, true liberation comes from the consistent practice of reflecting on your own thoughts. Stoicism invites us to observe our emotions, question our fears, and develop a clearer vision of reality. Through regular introspection, you'll realize that many anxieties about the future are merely unfounded mental constructions. When you begin to challenge these constructions, anxiety naturally decreases. Fear of the future loses its power because you recognize that you are in control of your mind, your choices, and ultimately the path you decide to follow. In every challenge you face, Stoicism offers an opportunity to grow. Fear of the future may be daunting, but by applying Stoic teachings, you can learn to live more fully in the present, act with wisdom and courage, and face uncertainty with confidence. The daily practice of Stoicism allows you to transform an anxious, fearful mindset into a calm, strong, and positive approach to life. So, if you feel that fear of the future has been controlling your actions and thoughts, Stoicism offers a path to reclaim your mental freedom. Remember that you're not alone in this journey, and by incorporating Stoic philosophy into your life, you can start seeing the future not as a threat but as an opportunity for constant growth and learning. As we reach the end of this video, we'd love to hear from you. Share your experiences with fear of the future in the comments. How has Stoicism impacted your way of living in the present? Your story could inspire others to face their challenges. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to like and share it with friends who could also benefit. And to continue this journey of personal transformation, subscribe to our channel. Here, you'll find more videos on Stoicism and personal development filled with insights to help you manage anxiety and live with greater purpose. Join us and be part of this community striving for growth and serenity.